So, really quick, I lightened the photo up of Jorge Camacho Rivera, so you can see the facial features a bit better, because YouTube also makes videos darker, it seems. But like I said, I'll be creating my own rendering of him that will be far more detailed, because I remember more details than what the picture is showing. While I have the photo up, I figure I'll use the opportunity to describe the situation where Jorge was suggesting to me that I should marry one of his Mexican friends for money so they could get a green card. So this was maybe about 3 weeks to a month or so before I was fired. And Jorge and I drove into town in the company truck, and on our way back, he starts bringing up, and he'd been saying stuff like this in the barn, like leading up to it, like, stuff like, why do you work in the barn? Why you not have babies? Why you not go teach boys, be teacher? And it's like, how many times can I tell you I don't want to be an art teacher? It's not meaningful enough for me. What I'm doing as an investigative journalist is what's meaningful for me. I don't want to be an artist. I don't want to be an art teacher. I'd love to be a mother, but I feel like what I do with my investigative journalism is very dangerous, and I probably shouldn't be bringing any children into that. So I'm sort of avoiding even starting a family or meeting anyone to start a family with. At the very least, I'm not ready for it right now. Like, I said this repeatedly to him, had to say it repeatedly to him, because he kept asking the same questions. Why? And now I can see, to some degree, it was like he knew I wasn't going to be there long. He knew that I was going to be fired at some point, close to when Jeremy got back, either just before or just after, on some trumped up nonsense. And he was like peppering me and preparing me, likely to some degree. And probably also peppering me and preparing me to some degree, hoping that, 1 + 1 = 2. We're making this job extra special hard for her, so she'll break and not want it and leave at the right time, or so that we can sabotage her and get rid of her at the right time. And also maybe because we're messing with her pay, the owners are messing with her pay. She's hard up for money, so this might be the perfect time to start peppering her up for, hey, why don't you consider again, like, getting married and, like, having kids? Don't you want babies? So anyway, again, about maybe 3 weeks to a month before I was fired, we were driving back from town in the company truck, and Jorge starts saying, you should marry a good Mexican man, a Mexican man. Women, American women, they get paid all the time to marry a Mexican man. And you could get $10,000. So they walk away with the $10,000. You don't have to live together. You don't have to do anything together. He won't touch you. And I saw where that shit was going immediately, and started shutting it down and just kind of going. I didn't like yell, and I wasn't harsh at all, but I was just like, that's not really, my thing. I understand how that could work out for some people, but for me, marriage is more than just a legal contract. It's more than just a money-making scheme. There's actually some meaningfulness to it for me, and also meaningfulness to my word. I try to make sure my word has meaning and substance by not, I try very hard not to avoid lying. I try very hard to be accountable for what I know and what I don't know. I'm not perfect at it. So I try hard not to, go around parroting things that I don't know for sure. Just hearsay stuff. Again, I'm not perfect at it, but I actually am very consciously aware of it and try very hard not to do that. Like, that's how hardcore I am about making sure my word has substance and that I'm not lying to people. So it's like asking someone like, and he should have known that by now after working with me that long and talking with me in the barn and me telling him things about myself and my beliefs on things and how a person should conduct themselves in life and so on. And he's heard me lecture Quinn plenty of times on such topics as well. You know, like, Quinn, this is how you be a man. This is how you become a man of integrity. Listen up. So, he knew at that point, like, he should have known that I wouldn't be down for that. He maybe was hoping that I was so hard up for money, I'd be desperate enough to do something like that. But for me, marriage is a sacred thing. It should be kept a sacred thing, and it won't be kept a sacred thing if people disrespect it by just treating it as a business contract, you know, where someone gets a green card and someone else gets some cash. So I said that, you know, I can understand how that would work out for some people, and I don't judge them for that. If both parties are okay with it, I mean, I guess, like, I didn't even want to, like, I still am not 100% all right with that, even if both parties are okay with it, just because what I just said, like, it does sully the institution of marriage, and it sullies your word. And I also said to him, I feel like to some degree what you put out there, you get back. So if you're putting out in the world that marriage and partnership means nothing to you, and it's just money, an exchange of money and goods and services, that's what you're going to get back. You're probably going to get a return on that on that investment of not a great marriage later on. You know, even if you have a sham marriage there and then divorce, you know, after you both gotten what you wanted, well, don't be surprised if, you know, you meet the person of your dreams and somehow that marriage doesn't work out. Well, you disrespected the institution of marriage previously. You know, that sort of thing. Like, I was just like, it's just not my thing. It's just not something I would feel comfortable doing. So I shut it down. And after that, he got markedly a bit colder with me. There's obviously disappointment. Because the next suggestion was going to be, before I started shutting it down, was going to be like, you know, yeah, I have plenty of Mexican friends and relatives looking for an American wife. And also, he was definitely showing me off to the other illegal immigrants in the barn that David brought down that final week to work on the motel. Because a bunch of them, like a horde of them, came into the barn one day. One of them was Valenti, and then there was at least like 3 to 4 other dudes. One of them, I think, might have been like the Mexican boss he kept talking about, who I think basically like pimps or rents, you know, he and the other illegal immigrants out to dudes like David Saintsing. Like, that guy probably collects all their pay from someone like David, and then parcels little bits of the pay out to them, the actual workers, like, you know, like Jorge, and likely holds on to most of it themselves. So, yeah. Sorry, I was getting messages. I have to go through and edit that a bit. Yeah, so it was a lot of dudes in that barn at one point, and they were speaking Spanish. So obviously I couldn't understand everything they were saying, but I took Spanish for 6 years in school, and I traveled around Spain in my teens for summer. And I've been down to Mexico. Like, I've been around it enough. And I had just recently, the last 3 months, been practicing, like, refreshing my Spanish with Jorge. So I understood it enough. And I also understand body language and tone enough to know that he was sort of making a spectacle of me. Not sort of. He was making a spectacle of me to the other illegal immigrants in that barn and talking about me. And also, women know when we're being eyed. You know, when our asses are being stared at, when our legs are being stared at. And he was also telling them to be careful about what they say about me or around me, because I could pick up on that much because I'm not stupid. I'm smart enough, and I speak a good amount of Spanish. Like, I understand a good amount of Spanish. So he was warning them to be careful what they say about me and around me, and making a spectacle of me. I'm going to go over that in another video too, because there was more spectacles that I wanted to mention, more incidents along those lines. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. I feel like there's maybe more about that I wanted to mention, more about the whole, like, suggesting that I should subtly, coyly starting the conversation of, you should get together with a Mexican dude. And you could get like $10,000 just to say you're married to him, and then he'll get a green card and you go your separate ways. And I think I also said something along the lines of, something tells me it just is not going to be that simple. Why do I feel like a circumstance like that just will not be that simple? And no, thank you. I've got plenty of headaches in my life as it is. Thank you, but no thanks. Yeah. So anyway, just putting that one out there. All right.